Hey yogis, I'm Nicole. Welcome to My Yoga Time. Today's yoga snack is geared a little more to the intermediate or beginner moving towards the intermediate, but there are plenty of variations. So this flow is going to target the whole body. We've got forward bends, back bends, twists, side bends, and inversions. Now I do have 2 blocks for this practice. If you don't have blocks, then do recruit yourself a couple of thick books or even some large cans of food if you've got them. And when you're ready, let's begin. We're going to come over onto all fours and start in a wide-legged child's pose. So we'll take those knees as wide as the mat, have those big toes touching, and sink the bottom back towards the heels. Extend those arms out in front as far as they'll comfortably go. Now for this child's pose, we're going to keep the palms lifted. So just your fingertips pressing into the mat. And for a few breaths here, just find some little pulses through the fingertips. A little bit of wrist therapy. By all means, bring the head down to meet the mat. If not, you can place your prop underneath the head. And gently guide your shoulders down towards your hips. From here, let's bring the elbows a little closer and take the hands into prayer above the head. Now is a good time to place the tip of the tongue where the teeth meet the roof of the mouth. Keeping the jaw relaxed, though finding a tone in the back of your throat. 3 more breaths here. See if you can deepen the breath. And pause. Hold the breath before you exhale slowly. Let's lift the head now. Come back to those fingertips. So we'll take a little side bend. Walk the hands over to your left as far as you can comfortably go. Keep the right arm straight. Little bend in the left elbow is fine. And try and lift the right armpit just a touch. Breathing down the right side waist. And let's inhale, lifting up, walking the hands all the way over to the right side now. Keeping the left arm straight. Little lift in the left armpit. And let's return to center. Coming up on all fours into your tabletop position. Now if you do have 2 blocks handy, bring them to the top of your mat, just in case you need them. And then hands under shoulders, fingers spread nice and wide, we'll curl those toes under. Inhale into your back bend. Exhale to round the spine. Either staying here or start to include your downward facing dog. So as you exhale and round the back, press into the pads of the fingers as you move the hips up and back. Holding here as you inhale. And then as you exhale, slowly bring those knees down to the mat. Inhaling into your back bend. Exhaling to round. And taking those hips up and back. Let's hold the next downward facing dog. Try to broaden the shoulders, but squeeze the heels of the palms in towards one another. Gently send your chest towards your thighs. And try to press the feet away from your hands. Next inhalation, lifting up the right leg, and then as you exhale, step through into your lunge. If you have your two blocks, let's recruit them now. Take the blocks to the high side and have one under each shoulder. So when you're here in this lunge, I want you to try and squeeze the feet towards one another. Inhale. And then as you exhale, press the feet away from one another as you move the hips back and straighten the right leg. So your back heel does not need to touch the mat here. Follow your inhalation into your lunge. Press the feet together towards one another. And exhale, stretch the mat, move the hips back. Doing one more. From here, we'll transition into Warrior 3. So you might choose to use your blocks and take them forward, either keeping hands on the blocks or one hand to the heart center, or maybe both hands to prayer. Make sure you round the outer hip down, draw the lower belly in. Press those palms together and try and move your shoulders down towards your hips. Keep breathing. Next inhalation, let's come all the way up. I'm going to take a hold of that left leg. So you might choose to stay here, or if it's available, take your left arm back, coming into a twist. Let's return to the front, hands to prayer, and as you lower that left foot down, bend the right leg as well. Find your chair pose. Here we want to try and squeeze the heels in a little. Let's check the position of your tongue and the softness in your jaw. Well done. Let's recruit those blocks and step your right leg back. So same flow. Here in the lunge, try and squeeze the feet towards one another. And then as you exhale, hips back, forward fold. Stretch the mat. Last one. Stepping up into your Warrior 3. If you don't need the blocks, bring the hands straight to the heart center. Pointing those right toes down towards the mat, flexing the foot. And when you're ready, coming all the way up, taking a hold of that right knee, either staying here or finding your twist. Let's return to the center and lower down, chair pose. Inhale. And exhale, folding down. So blocks are there if you need, otherwise hands can come to the floor. Inhale, halfway up. Find a nice little back bend here in your forward bend. Try to lift the tailbone and the heart. And then as you exhale, fold. Step your left leg back, Warrior 2 legs. Windmill, those arms up. So check that your back foot is not quite parallel to the short side of the mat. Just a very slight angle there with those toes. The hips will be much happier. Here we're going to press the feet away from one another. Draw up that arch on the left foot and the kneecap. And open out the right knee. Make sure you can see your big toe on the inside. So while we're here, we're going to do a little nerve tensioning. So we'll turn those palms up, push through the heels of the palms and try and pull the fingertips back. Then ever so subtly roll the shoulders forward and down. Try to move the elbows back. Let's take a mudra with the hands. Now index finger and thumbs connect. Roll the wrists, roll the shoulders forward and down. Try and move the elbows back and up. One more on each side. And from here, we'll take those hands down behind you, interlace the fingers. Press the feet away as you lift the heart. Option 1, stay as you are. Option 2, fold forward on the inside of your right leg, looking for your big toe. Strong in the legs now as you return to Warrior 2. Release those hands. Reverse your Warrior and try and lift up out of the right side waist. Left hand can stay where it is or wrap the hand around the lower back. From here, straighten that right leg. Heel toe the left foot a little bit closer. We're going to transition into your triangle pose, and as you lower down, keep pressing those feet away from one another. Option 1, looking down at that big toe or looking back towards the shoulder if the neck permits. So think of your triangle pose as being an open twist. It's not so much a side bend. We want to rotate the heart and the navel up towards the ceiling. Option 1, stay in your triangle pose. Option 2 will move into another balance pose, your half moon pose. So option to use your block here. A few baby steps in if you need to with that back leg before raising the left leg up. Trying to stack the left hip on top of the right. Of course, if you don't need the block, fingertips can come to the floor. Let's keep that left shoulder nice and open. Left hand staying on the low back. And to help with your stability and to work those oblique muscles, try to drag your right hand towards your right foot. Well done. Inhale. And as you exhale, let's lower down, return to your Warrior 2. And straighten the leg. We're going to change sides. So if you know you need your block, take it over to the other end of the mat. Bend in that left knee, open out the hip, look for your big toe. Right foot on a very slight angle, not quite parallel to the short side of the mat. Feet pressing away from one another now. Let's take our nerve tensioning, push through the heels of the palms, pull the fingers back, roll the shoulders forward and down. So you should feel a little tingling or a line of heat down those arms. Changing sides, take a mudra, connect index finger and thumbs, roll the wrists, roll the shoulders. One more on each side. And lower those hands down, interlace the fingers. Press the feet away from one another, lift the heart. Either staying here or folding forward, looking for your left big toe. Follow your next inhalation out of the pose, reversing your Warrior. Looking for length and space in the left side waist. We'll take that right hand to your low back. Of course, you can always take a mudra with that hand as well. And straighten the left leg, heel toe the right foot in just a touch. Transition into your triangle pose. Option to stay as you are or move into your balance pose, either with or without your block. Let's return to Warrior Two. Inhale, straighten the leg. Take the hands to the hips. We're going to step to the top of the mat. So we'll bring those big toes to touch, have a little space between the heels. We're going to come back into our chair pose, but this time with a twist. So hands can come to prayer. Inhale. As you exhale, knees will press together as you lower down, and then we'll hook the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Gently press those palms together. And then let's look down. Transition your weight into your left foot as you step your right foot back with control. Here in this lunge, let's stretch the mat with your feet, so try and press them away from one another. See if you can deepen your breath. Well done. Let's lower those hands down. Step your left leg back into a three-legged downward facing dog. Option to stay there, or if it's available, lift up that hip and bend the knee. Look under your armpit. Keep that left foot flexed. Inhale to straighten the legs, square the hips. Transition into your pigeon pose. Left knee to meet the left wrist, right leg to lengthen behind you. Now if your left knee or hip aren't happy here, just take a modification. Lean over to the left, bend both legs. So my right thigh and my left shin are parallel to one another. If you're here, you're going to fold off to the left a little more. Otherwise, in your standard pigeon, let's try and have a little tone, a little squeeze behind that knee. Before we come all the way down into our pigeon, let's just take those hands a little wider than the mat, a little further in front of the shoulders. So from here, let's inhale and lift the heart. Then as you exhale, bend the elbows and lower down. Tuck in the chin, and then follow the inhalation, coming all the way back up. And coming all the way down now, you might like to either use your block or make a pillow with your hands or even fists. Stack them on top of one another to support the head. If it's available for you and you'd like to go a little deeper, recruit one of your blocks and we'll thread the needle. So we'll take the right arm underneath the left, bringing your right ear to the block. Option to take a mudra through your right hand. Option to keep the left fingertips where they are or extend the arm up. Take the hand to the low back. You might even be able to reach your left big toe. And let's release. Coming all the way back up. Step it back into your downward facing dog. Feel free to give the legs a brief walk. Although it's a brief walk, we're moving slowly. From here, inhale forward into plank, rounding the upper back and shoulders. Let's chaturanga our way down to the mat, and you might come all the way down or hover an inch above the mat, roll over the toes, find your upward facing dog. Return to your plank, upper back rounds, And then take those hips back, downward facing dog. Well done. Let's step to the top of your mat. Inhale halfway. Exhale to fold. Reverse swan dive. So from here, we'll bring those big toes together again, a little space between the heels. Let's bend those knees, come into your revolved chair pose. So left elbow hooking around the outside of the right knee. Let's look down, weight into the right foot as you step your left leg back with control, pressing those feet away from one another. See if you can deepen your breath. Well done, yogis. Lower those hands down. Take it back into your three-legged downward facing dog, either keeping the legs straight and the hips square, or lift up the right hip, bend the knee, look under your armpit. Straightening the right leg now, squaring those hips and placing the right knee behind the right wrist. Finding your pigeon pose. Or again, if you need to, lean off to the side, bend both legs. When you're ready, we'll take those hands a little bit wider than the shoulders. Inhale, lift the heart. And as you exhale, bend the elbows lower down. Tuck in the chin and inhale to come back up. Exhale to lower. And let's come down now, either settling into your pigeon pose, coming straight down in the center, or if you did so on the other side and there's no concerns with your knee, because it does make the pose a little bit deeper, you can thread the needle. Left arm underneath the right. Option to take that right arm up and reach behind you. Looking for your big toe if you can reach it. If not, you might just take a mudra instead. Follow your next inhalation to come out of the pose. Blocks to the side if you're using them. Let's return to our downward facing dog. Feel free again to slowly walk out the feet or even bend both knees and switch the hips from side to side. And then bringing the body forward into plank, pushing the back of the heart up towards the ceiling. Squeezing those elbows in as you come all the way down to the mat. Let's take our locust pose here. Option to have the hands next to the body or interlace the fingers. Tucking tailbone under, lifting heart and floating those feet up. Exhale to lower, turn your head to one side, take a brief rest. From here we'll flip over onto your back. Once on your back, bend those knees, bring those heels in as close to the bottom as you can. Press the feet down and try and slide them away, or turn the palms up. Squeeze the heels in as you lift your hips up. Keep pressing those feet down. broaden the collarbones. And avoid the knees from falling out wide. Try and keep them in line with those hips. Picking up the heels now and lower down one vertebrae at a time. Feel free to collect those knees in the hands, and you might like to rock side to side, or inhale, arms are straight, exhale, bend the elbows. And let's lower those feet back down to the mat. So a few choices here, yogis. If you don't have any blocks and you're not wanting to come up into a shoulder stand today, by all means you can just take your legs up against the wall. So you lay on your back, swing those legs up. If you do have one block, feel free to place it on the flat side underneath your low back, underneath your bottom. If you've got two blocks, you might like to stack them on top of one another, both on the flat side. So this is an alternative to your full shoulder stand. This is a supported shoulder stand with your blocks. So feel free to hold onto those blocks, and then we'll lift one and then both legs up. So feel free to stay here. If it's an option for you to come up into a shoulder stand, if you've no concerns with your neck, with your shoulders, you're not suffering any headaches today, and ladies, you're not in your first few days of menstruation, then feel free to come up a little higher. Taking those hands to the back for support. Try to step those elbows in so they're in line with the shoulders. We all have a tendency to let the elbows wing out to the side. Here we'll push through the balls of the feet. An option to stay as you are, or we'll bring a little movement from here. Inhale, and then as you exhale, lower your right leg overhead. Then as you inhale, bring that leg back up. Exhale, other side. Keep alternating. We'll do one more on each leg. And be sure in your shoulder stand to not turn the head. Your drishti is straight up. Now, two choices: either stay in your shoulder stand or release if you need to. Otherwise, we'll bring both legs overhead, coming down into your plow pose. So if your feet don't meet the floor, keep your hands on your back for support. If they do meet the floor, you might choose to take the hands away from the back, even reach the hands overhead for your feet. And here we want to make sure that those legs are active. Push the backs of the thighs up towards the ceiling so the legs are straight. Now, if you do have those feet on the floor and you'd like a little side bend, bring the hands back to the back if you had removed them. Legs are straight, and just walk the feet over to the left side as far as you can comfortably go. Don't overstretch, don't overstrain. And we'll come back to center and over to the right side. Back to center and return to your shoulder stand, pressing the arms down into the mat. When you're ready to release, either bend the knees, keep the head on the mat, roll out slowly. If you'd like to come down into a bridge pose, you're going to drop your right knee towards your head, turn your hand so that your fingers wrap around your waist and the heels of the palms point towards the spine. Then bend your left leg. Left foot meets the mat, right leg will follow. Inhale, pick up those heels, and exhale, release your bridge pose. Well done. Let's straighten those legs. Take the hands underneath the bottom, so you're sitting on your hands. Push through the balls of your feet. Squeeze the elbows into the ribs, and then bend your elbows, lift the upper body off the mat, and just gently drop your head back. So the crown of the head will lightly meet the floor. There's no weight in the head, it's all in my arms. Now feel free just to enjoy this pose as you are. I always like to take a few cleansing lion's breaths here. So I'll do this 3 times, inhale through the nose, and then as you exhale, do so through the mouth. Stick out your tongue, try to reach your chin with your tongue, eyes nice and wide. Let's inhale. Well done. Firm down through those arms, lift up the chest, tuck in the chin, and slowly release. When you're ready, we'll move into a twist. So bend your left leg, move your hips just a touch to the left, not too far, and then take a hold of your left knee. The left knee is going to come over to the right. Option to place your block underneath for support. You might choose to stay exactly as you are here. If you have the urge to straighten the leg, you can straighten the leg. And if you'd like to take a quad stretch with the right leg, take the leg back a little, knee is going to bend, and then reach for your foot. Keeping those collarbones facing the ceiling. Deepen the breath into the lower body. Inhale. And as you exhale, release. Let's return to your back. We'll take that same twist on the other side. So hips will move just a little to the right. Take your block over if you need. Collecting that right knee. And moving over to the left. If you did so on the other side, take the left leg back, bend the knee and reach for the foot. When you're ready, release as you exhale, return to your back. And then if you've got that block close by, let's place the block underneath the head. So the edge of the block is going to meet the base of your skull. You might choose to keep the knees bent, or you can straighten and relax the legs. We'll just release any last bit of tension in the neck. You might even like to take a mudra here, connecting index finger and thumbs. Now let's inhale. And as you exhale, slowly take the head to your left. And then inhale back to center. Exhale over to the right. So make sure that it's slow movement, slow breath. And by all means, if you would like to take longer here, please do. Otherwise, when you're ready, you can remove the block. Coming into Shavasana, tucking those shoulders under, softening the forehead, the tongue and jaw. Let's inhale a little deeper now as you guide your awareness back. And just observing how you feel compared to the beginning of the class. Have you found more space in your body? Clarity in the mind? Let's run the tongue over the teeth. Wiggle toes and fingers. Stretch if the urge arises. And in your own time, rolling to your preferred side. Before bringing yourself up to seated. Thanks, yogis. I hope that you enjoyed the practice. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to the channel, and not just my channel, but any yoga teacher that you watch on a regular basis, as it's the best way to support free yoga on YouTube. I wish you a lovely day.